Hi everyone, once again we are live at day 2 at the Data Innovation Summit. I am here in the morning with Joshua Green, who is
Hello.
coming from Databricks, and he is a data and AI strategist. We are very happy to have you here, Joshua, and welcome to the summit.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's our pleasure as well to have you. And I want to say that Joshua is one of our keynote speakers here at day 2. And Joshua, I would like to ask you, how does it feel to be presenting in front of so many people who work with data analytics and AI here at the summit?
I mean, it feels really good. I think there's a huge crowd in the room. There's a huge buzz in the space, and it's been really nice to stand up in front of everyone and feel the buzz in the space. And there's so many good conversations going on. I was walking around the conference hall yesterday, just meeting different people. And as always, I think it's a really exciting event to kind of just see what's happening out there, especially in the Nordics. You know, we see lots of our common customers showing up here as well. So no, it's really nice to be up on the stage as well, talking about things which I find really important, very passionate about myself. So
right, yes.
Very nice to have that.
That's great to hear, and we're very happy that you're enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions, and I would like to ask you regarding your keynote session here
Yes.
at the summit. You cover the true state of AI in your talk. And there's a lot of hype surrounding AI, and in the past couple of years, and right now as well. So I would like to ask you, what do you believe is the biggest misconception for organizations when it comes to using and leveraging AI?
No, I think there's like many new technologies and like many new things, there's a lot of misconceptions around artificial intelligence. I do feel that most businesses now I talk to are pretty smart about this. They're really starting to get a lot of good perspectives and good understanding of what's possible and what's not. I do think that as I covered in the keynote, I do think that a lot of this idea that we had maybe a year ago around one big model, it can do everything, it can solve all your problems, is really starting to give way in favor of a more systems-based way of thinking. I come from a software engineering background. And the systems way of thinking has been kind of natural for me for a very long time, along with most software engineers. And I think that's really what we need to bring to the data space as well. Actually considering that models themselves can be just a component in a larger system. We still need to have those more deterministic tools to actually be able to deliver kind of consistent results and consistent answers. But where it makes sense, we can bring in, for example, language models to be able to actually kind of communicate with users. But I really think like the biggest misconception around Gen AI, obviously, Gen AI to most people is a language model, it's a chatbot.
Right.
I think the misconception there is that the model itself is a language model. It's in the name. It's modeling language. It's not necessarily modeling knowledge or anything else. And so while these tools can exhibit capabilities which appear to be intelligent, actually at the end of the day they're just modeling language. And so we need to have, this is why agentic systems, for example, are really important. Actually, we need to be able to provide those other components and those other tools to actually make the models intelligent, right? Because at the end of the day, they're very good at speaking, but that's really what they're best at. And actually, we need to bring in those other technologies, those other components to actually provide the true intelligence. So,
thank you for sharing that. It's really interesting take, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I would like to also ask you, from your experience and perspective as well, what do you think is the most critical shift that organizations need to make to fully leverage AI and its potential?
Yeah, I know, and I think when it comes down to this, it's really about semantics. As an industry, globally, I think we're not very good at modeling industries and then businesses within that. The challenge we have, I think, is actually being able to model the business in a way which can then inform AI and inform the answers that it's giving, the decisions it's taking, and so on and so forth. And we have tools out there that can do this. I think if we look at the pharmaceutical industry, for example, they have very, very detailed ontologies, taxonomies, means of describing the relationships between different drugs and different compounds and how they interact with each other. And I think that the rest other industries can learn a lot from this. And I think as AI becomes more and more important, we need to take these mental models that we have, as people in the world of how business works, for example, and actually provide that as an ontology, as a taxonomy to the models themselves to actually enable them to understand that. Because just modeling language isn't enough to actually be able to deliver that. So I really think that's something which we need to focus on providing in a structured and reusable way moving forwards.
Thank you for sharing that. And also, I would like to ask you, right now, there are a lot of developments happening, and we are all aware of that in terms of AI. What is something that you're following right now when it comes to these developments? And maybe what do you expect or hope to see in the near future to happen in terms of developments?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing a lot is enabling more people to have access to data.
Right.
And there's a lot of different ways which we can enable that. I've already talked a bit about the semantics and actually being able to structure the model's knowledge and actually be able to structure it in a way which is reusable. I think graph technologies have a lot of potential there to actually do this. But at the end of the day, I think for AI to really be impactful and really to be useful to a business, it needs to be accessible.
Accessible.
It needs to be accessible to people. They need to have a means to actually use it, and then be able to rely on the responses they get. I did a presentation a few weeks ago, and there's a really nice Dutch proverb, which is, I'm not going to say in Dutch because my Dutch pronunciation is not very good, but essentially it means that trust arrives on foot and it leaves on horseback, which is a very complicated way of saying that it's easy to gain, it's easy to lose trust.
Yes.
But it's very hard to gain it back again. So I think when we start to roll these tools out to the business and start to actually give them access to Gen AI or any kind of AI tool, whatever it is, we need to have that trust up front, because as soon as we deliver a result that's bad, we've lost the trust. It's very hard to gain that back. So I really believe that we actually need to start with that level of trust building, but then provide access to users to it, so they can actually start to build that relationship and build that feedback. We had a conversation yesterday with some customers, and they were saying, I don't have data that's good enough. My data's not good enough. I don't feel ready to show it to the business. That's good, right? To be aware of that challenge. Right. But equally, you'll never get the feedback you need from the experts until you make it available, until you provide it to them. So I think we need to make data accessible, get that feedback, and make sure we provide it in a way where users understand the quality of that. So we're not misleading them. That's the most important thing, I think. So accessibility, I would say.
Yes, you made a few very good points, and I'm sure that whoever is listening to us will find them useful as well. Thank you for sharing that. And I have one more question to complete our talk today. If you had to describe the summit, the Data Innovation Summit, in one word, what would that word be?
I was going to go for innovative, but it's kind of in the name, so I felt that's a bit cheating.
But a little bit.
It's a bit cheating. Yeah. No, but I think exciting, really. I mean,
exciting.
It's a simple word, but I mean, there's so many things happening. There's so many people interested here. We have more and more people coming in from the business who are actually understanding that this is relevant and motivating for them. If you think back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, the data warehouse was something dusty in the basement, right?
Right, yes.
And now it's really relevant to everyone in the business. And I think that's why it's so exciting to be here. And the summit's really a good example to show that. So.
Thank you very much for the kind words, Joshua. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.